Welcome to In Her Voice. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am passionate about helping women live authentically by listening to their inner voice. Get ready to be inspired by women of all walks of life that have set aside their should-bes and not good enoughs and are standing in their true voice, the voice of wisdom that each and every one of us has inside. Hello everyone, this is Kelly Covert, and you are listening to episode 19 of In Her Voice. I'm so excited to be with you right now, and this is kind of unusual for me because I am recording this at almost 10 p.m. It has just been a day, a week full of wonderful things, and I'm trying to do a lot of my creative work on the edges of the days. It's really interesting that I'm working like that because what I want to talk to you about today is the idea of flow. So what do I mean when I talk about flow? Gosh, lots of things. It's such a beautiful word to me, and it's a word that I have come to live by, literally live by. Several years ago, I read The Desire Map by Danielle LaPorte. And if you have not read it, I highly recommend it. I will put a link in the show notes for you guys. But it's really more of a workbook where you discover what she calls your core desired feelings. And essentially what a core desired feeling is how you want to feel every day. And one of my core desired feelings is flow. And for me, flow means many things. It means being in the zone. I like to think of it as being in the zone. It means being fully present without judgment. It means being energized and focused by the work that I'm doing. It means finding ease in what I'm doing. And I am no stranger to flow. I don't really think any of us are. I think we've all had moments where we can experience it and where we may not know it at the time that that's what it is, but reflecting back, we can say, oh, that's what flow was. That's what it feels like. One of the earliest times that I can think of really understanding the idea of flow was in my life as a musician. And I remember I was at a summer camp and I think I was 17. It was the summer before my senior year of high school, and I went to a concert, and it might have even been the very first day of this summer camp. One of the faculty members played this most beautiful movement of a Brahms piano sonata, and I was completely entranced. I was just taken to another place by that music. And for those, 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, I was only in that moment of hearing that music and feeling the emotions that brought up in me. And it was at that moment that I realized I need to be a musician. This is what I want to be. Ever since then, that's a feeling I want to get back to, always of just being purely in that moment of experiencing exactly what is happening right then. As I have grown and as I've learned more about myself and as I've stepped into honoring my inner voice and what it tells me to do, I also realized that besides that feeling of being in the zone, of being in flow, present fully without judgment, there's another way that I like to think of flow. And that is where I'm going with the flow, where the work that I'm doing or the fun that I'm doing or whatever I'm doing, that there's ease to it, that it doesn't involve struggling. It doesn't feel hard. And that's not that it's not hard. Some of the work is hard, but there's ease inside of that. It brings me ease. And so I was in my mastermind group a couple of weeks ago, and our leader decided to have the focus of the group that week be around flow. What is flowing in your business? And I was really struck by that question, number one, because it's such an important word to me. And I hadn't really thought about what was flowing in my business, like really sat down to think about it. When I sort of meditated on that and got really still, I realized that right now, where my body is flowing, where my heart is flowing, where my energy is flowing inside of my business is right here with you, within her voice, with this podcast. This makes me feel amazing. This makes me feel fulfilled. This is where I feel I'm creating something important and something beautiful, and it gets my blood flowing and it gets my energy up regardless of the time of day, regardless of the task that I'm doing when it comes to the podcast, because there's more than just sitting down in front of the mic and talking for 15 minutes or doing an interview. There's a lot more that goes into the podcast. And all of those things make me feel this sense of flow. And so when I really focused on that, I had this awareness that I want to do more of what brings me flow. I want to put more energy into what brings me that feeling of flow. And so I started thinking about why I chose to create this podcast. Why am I doing this? And it was funny because one of the first memories that came up for me was way back, I think it was probably in 2006 or 2007, I bought my very first iPod. I got a little iPod Nano, and I realized you could download these things called podcasts. I just became addicted. I have loved podcasts from the very moment that I had access to it. And every time that I would listen to a podcast, I would sort of have this feeling like, I want to do that. This is something for me. And so now, to be coming full circle to this place in 2017, 10 or 11 years later, and be bringing this podcast to you that means so much to me. It really is like a dream come true. And when I dug deeper into my why, I realized that my mission, my purpose, my soul's true calling in this life is to help women understand that they are enough. That they don't have to feel not good enough, that they don't have to feel not worthy, that they don't have to feel like they can't love themselves. And I really believe that the way to that place of worthiness, the way to that place of enoughness, the way to that place of creating the life you most desire, a life that is full of flow and joy and love and peace, is to listen to our inner voice. And that has become my passion. That is my why behind this podcast. And I truly believe that that is why I am flowing in this, because I am stepping in to exactly where my soul is asking me to be. So you may be wondering, Kelly, why are you talking to us about this? Where do I come into this idea? Well, first of all, I could not be doing this without you guys. I know that you are listening every single week that this podcast has been in existence so far, which is just 6 weeks. I can't believe it's been only 6 weeks, but it's been only 6 weeks. Every single week, more and more and more people are listening. More and more people are reaching out to me and saying, I need this. Thank you. More and more people are leaving reviews saying, Kelly, thank you for sharing these voices. Thank you for sharing these stories with us. Thank you for bringing women to us who live in their inner voice, who understand what it means to connect with that and to feel worthy every single day, because we need to hear it. And this is the thing. We all need to hear this. Every single one of us needs to hear this, and we need to hear it over and over and over. We need to become crusaders for all women to live in their worthiness. I mean, really, you guys, what would happen in our world if women started showing up and stepping into their greatness and all of their glory every single day? I really believe our world would be a different place. That is what this is about. This podcast is more than just me talking. It's more than just my voice and someone else's voice speaking to you. This is about creating a movement of women who are worthy crusaders, who are saying, we are enough, who are saying, we are worthy to live the life we want. We are worthy to make choices that align with our souls. We are worthy. And then you share it. Because that's really where I see this going. You listen and you share. You listen and you become the person that says to your friend when she's beating herself up about something, hey, don't talk about my friend like that. She's amazing. You can be that person too. We all can be that person. And every single person that we touch is going to remember that and is going to feel their worthiness in that moment. That is what I'm talking about, you guys. And so as I sat with this idea of where my flow was going, of where I was feeling flow in my body, in my heart, in my business, in my life, I had to get really still and ask my inner voice, what do I do with this? How do I create something bigger? How do I bring together women and create a movement of worthy crusaders, literally, who are out there fighting for women to know how worthy they are, to know that they have the power within them right now to feel the way that they want to feel right now? And my inner voice said, ask for people to join you. And I have to tell you something. I listen to my inner voice a lot, most of the time, but every now and then it says something and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't think that's right. How would I possibly ask people to join me? What am like people gonna come do the podcast for me? How does that gonna work? And I sat still again, and that's what I heard. Ask people to join you. I realized that my resistance to that wasn't understanding how people could join me. It was in fear and asking for the support, in fear of asking for your help in creating this movement. I can't live in that fear because my inner voice is telling me to put it out there, that this is what I was born for. This is what we all were born for, right? So what I'm asking today is for you to join me, to work together, to do even more to get this message out to women who need it most, to say yes to enough, to say yes to worthy, to say yes to listening to our inner voice, and to say yes to supporting other women through this message. The way that you can do that is by supporting In Her Voice as a patron. There's a wonderful website called Patreon, and I have created a page for In Her Voice. And if you go to kellycovert.com/together, you can join me in creating this movement, in getting this word out. And what does it mean to join me? It means supporting me with your energy, with your love, and with your finances. So if you listen to this podcast, if you feel that it brings worth to you, if you understand that by listening to this, you are practicing stepping into your own worthiness, I ask you to go to kellycovert.com/together and really ask your inner voice, What can I do to support? How should I show that I want to be a part of this? And listen and just do what it says. And you know what? If your heart says, listen. If your heart says $4 a month, that is amazing. If your heart says $100 a month, that is equally amazing, because we are all in this together. And every little bit, every piece of energy, whether that energy looks like time, whether it looks like love, whether it looks like dollars, all of that matters. And we are all putting in her voice to create something bigger than who we are. Flow with me. Step into the flow with me. Let's do this together. Why? Because women matter. And we need women to understand how amazing, how wonderful they are, how much we need them to own their voice and to listen and to live by it. kellycovert.com/together. Let's do this together.